Greetings and welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to episode 302 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly news, culture, and gaming discussion podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander, and smirking to my left is Mr. Zafford Moody. Hello.
Howdly doodly do. It's Monday. You know what that means, everybody. I've returned for 3 weeks.
And then I'm going to fire you again.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that I didn't catch COVID until you stopped doing the podcast. Therefore, I think it's only logical
all my fault.
to conclude that it's your fault that I caught COVID. I think that's fair. What do you think?
It's my fault. It's my fault that you went out.
Is that it? Just I went out.
Yeah. Went close to people without masks.
When have you ever known? When have you ever known me to go close to anybody? Ever? Jeez, slander. That's slander. That's slander. I will see you in court.
And now this is how it erupts. I'm getting sued now.
Justifiably, if I do say so myself. How are you?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad at all. I'm very good, actually. Very good. As everyone may or may not know, I did get a job at long last in the industry as a QA tester.
Yeah, we didn't mention it on the podcast because we didn't know me and Joe had this talk because he was the first person who jumped in for you, and it came up about 2 minutes before we were recording, where it was just like, what do we say about Moody? And I was like, oh, I don't actually know. Like, he never actually said like how much to say. So we'll just make it a non-issue, right? We'll not say anything. And then it was like, no, we have to say something. And it's like, all right, fine. All right. And then I was like, I'm going to slander him for 15 straight minutes. I'm just going to talk absolute shit about him.
And you didn't?
And then
until the next episode?
Until the next episode.
Yeah, with Elf. Yeah. I was like ready. I was ready to listen to the abuse I was going to get from you for the first episode. And I was just like, is that it?
Is that it? I remember what I said on that episode. You say, is that it? That hurts my feelings a little bit. I was so nice.
Good, yeah. You said something really nice. You said nice things. I know it's hard for you to say something nice. So
yeah.
So I know it came from the heart for you because you don't say anything nice at all.
It was very difficult. It was very difficult for me to dig deep and find that niceness. You know, like I don't say nice things about anybody ever.
Yeah. So I can speak about certain things of obviously what my job is. I am a software QA tester for Sony PlayStation. Yes. The big times, ladies and gentlemen.
That one.
My first job is with the big times. Obviously, I cannot say anything understandable whatsoever. But yeah, I can basically say what I do. I test the firmware of the console with any game that's coming out. Okay. Or basically what games have come out, should I say. I don't test anything when what's coming up or anything like that. I'm just testing what's already out. So like first training I did, I was testing Horizon Forbidden West for the first few days I was doing it. So, and I've been doing that throughout my first few weeks, and yeah, I've had a heck of a time. The people are absolutely amazing. They're a really good bunch of lads and lasses, and really get on really well with all of them. So I am having a heck of a time. Obviously, it's only a temp job. It's for now. Touch wood, I will secure permanency for future. But at this moment in time, yeah, the rota is like very different for me. Like I'm 4 on 4 off. So like right now I'm off for the next couple of weeks on a Sunday. So I am here for the next couple of weeks. So then after that, I will be gone for about 4 or 5 weeks or so, give or take. And then I'll return basically around the time when my contract's almost done. So, yeah. But no, yeah, it's I'm having a lot of fun. Yeah, the first story. Yeah, the first story is my first back to shift on that week. So I'll miss it all and everything. So
I can say whatever the fuck I want. Don't
Yeah,
have to
okay.
tiptoe around being all like, no, Moody, they're not going to make a Dino Crisis, but it's okay. So keep believing that. Pat, head, pat, head, pat, head, pat. Now just be like, fucking Dino Crisis. Who the fuck will play Dino Crisis in 2022?
That's true. Like, not Capcom.
Not Capcom.
They'll just wind you up and cock block you.
What are you going to do? Yeah,
Wine
no, it's
on the
cool.
internet.
I got some moves. I'm making some moves for the
future.
for the 5 weeks you're off. I mean, I don't mean this to sound bitchy or angry in any way, but I have a lot more notice this time than I did the first time, where it was like, what do I do?
That's fair. Yeah, that is much fair indeed.
It's fine.
More notice than what I give you the first time, because obviously everything was dropped on me like really fast notice for me. Like I had the interview, and it was literally like, if we hire you, will need to be here by Monday. So I needed to, when that went, then obviously I got the confirmation and everything like that, and I didn't even start feeling like of happiness until probably the Saturday before I was meant to go, before or everything like that, because I was just like focusing on, okay, I need to sort out a hotel, I need to sort out traveling, I need to sort out this, I need to sort out that, and we were just like, both me and my partner and my mother were just like full on focus. We were trying to see if we can do this and everything, and thankfully we have been able to do it. So like the first Sunday was obviously the first time. I did drop you in the shit, but thankfully, thank you very
Drop me
much
in the shit. It was fine.
to Joe Medforce and for Elf for.
I said there was only one man of the job for the job. And I got him.
Did.
And I got him.
You did get him. You did get him indeed.
Probably
Thank
get
you
him
for
again.
both. Yeah.
If there is a perfect co-host to do an E3 podcast,
Joe Medforce is the perfect person. Hell
Joe,
yes.
if you're listening to this,
And we know you do.
I'm going to slide into your DMs again. I slid into his DMs the other day. He rated me with 86 people on Friday night.
Nice.
Yeah. I was playing the Stanley Parable. Actually, I didn't finish playing the Stanley Parable.
That's getting really good reviews.
Because it's a really good game.
Yeah.
I won't say anymore, but it's very, very good. Even if you've played the original and think, oh, it's just a remaster with a bit new content. No, it's not. Play it. It's very much more than that. It's the Stanley Parable. But yeah, no, it was fine. It was good. I'd been interested in a few weeks. Like, didn't do a podcast last week. Should probably address the fact that nothing happened last week because I had COVID and I cancelled. I had Patrick was going to do the last week's podcast with me. And bless him, he was such a sweetheart about it. I texted him at like 4 p.m. I was like, this isn't happening. Like, I've been trying to get myself into a place where I can do it and I can't do it. So we're just going to have to cancel the whole thing.
That's fair.
And he was really nice about it. Bless him. Because I kind of blocked off his Sunday night and then with a few hours notice was like, it's done. We're out. Sorry. No podcast. Which is the first time, like, we've ever done an unscheduled, like, not, like, cancellation. Like, we've had weeks off, like, Christmases and E3s and stuff like that. Like, but they've always been planned and scheduled and announced. I've never cancelled a podcast in 300 and... I had never cancelled a podcast in 301 episodes. So I took some time to feel good about that, because I was like, damn, that's a lot of episodes to, like... never cancel a podcast.
That's true.
So it's a long time. I started this podcast in 2015. And I didn't have a cancellation until 2022. Donald Trump hadn't even been president when I started this podcast. It was a much more hopeful time back then. I started a podcast thinking, this will be fun. I'll get my friends and we'll talk about video games. Video games are great to talk about. They're a lot of fun. And
that's true.
There's nothing bad about them. And now it's 2022. I don't know if any of that is any of that true anymore.
That's true, yeah.
Well, no, there's one good thing about video games, really. You work on them.
That's true.
That's
I
true.
do work on them, yes.
You do. And you're a pretty cool guy, if I do say so myself.
Well, thank you. You're a pretty cool chick, if I do say so myself.
I am. I mean, I have my moments. COVID sucks, by the way. Like, I don't know if I haven't
You
had
said that a lot.
I haven't had the chance to properly articulate that on the podcast. Like that first day, because I did the podcast the day I caught. I don't know, not the day I caught it, but the day it caught up with me. And like I'd woke up in the morning, Nelly was here because we were going out to the park on the Sunday, and I went out and there's pics on the Instagram. It was a great day. It was really sunny. It was really nice. We went out. We both looked fantastic. The park was amazing. We had a nice walk, and then we walked from the park all the way into the town. And then I got back, and I was like, "Oh, it was a bit sunny." So I was like, "I'm a bit warm." And I've been walking. I'm gonna have a nap. Had a nap. Woke up from the nap. Oh, I don't feel. My throat feels a bit weird. I'll do a test just in case because I just got a box of tests. So I had like, when you have loads of tests lying around, so you just cavalier with them. You're like, oh, I've just sniffed once. I better do a test to make sure I don't have COVID. But I was like, oh, my throat feels a bit weird. I'll have a test. And I did a test. Walked away. Forgot about the test. Came back like an hour and a half later. And I had it on my desk, but I don't have it anymore because I burned it. And it was like, I looked at it and I was like, there's two lines. Shit. I'm supposed to do a podcast in like 2 hours or something. I was like, right, I better text people. I need to text people. Like, tell them, by the way, I've got COVID. Did the thing everybody does. I just sent a picture of the test to a lot of people. Are you still going to do the podcast? Yeah, I'm not feeling too bad. So, I'm good. I'm good enough to still do the podcast. Sat down with Alfie to do the podcast. Still, even in the beginning of the podcast, I sat there and said, I don't feel that bad. So I think we'll be all right. 45 minutes into the podcast, I think was when I realized I'd made a horrible mistake. But it's the sunk cost fallacy, right? I'm in. I've done this much. I'm going to finish it.
Gotta keep on going, yeah.
90 minutes into the podcast, I realized that was a mistake. We should have stopped. But you know what? There's only like 30 minutes left. We got games out this week, and I was like, I can't barely speak anymore.
I'm done. Yeah.
So Elfie was like, Elfie, do you want to do a fantasy critic check-in? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, cool, go for it.
I'm going to sleep.
And then she did that. We finished the podcast. By Sunday night, Monday, like Sunday night, it was like 3 a.m., so like Monday morning or something. I was still awake. I was sweating buckets. I had The Office on the screen in the background. So like from the morning to less than like 24 hours, I went from fit and healthy enough to go for a walk like for like 2-3 miles in the park and then another mile into town to I couldn't get up and down the stairs in one go.
Damn.
Yeah.
It hit you good.
It came on so quick and it's lasted for a while. Like I'm still not 100% now. I'm much better than I was. But I remember it got to the end of like the 5 days and I got a text and it was like, oh, so like, how you feeling? And I was like, I feel like shit. Have you done a test? No, I haven't done a test yet. I'm going to do one on the Friday morning. Did it. Got the test out. Did the thing. You know how the tests work. Like you drop the thing in the thing and then it fills up. Like very slowly. Yeah. And it was filling up and it was filling up. It got to the bottom line. And before it had even filled all the way up, so you didn't have the top line, the bottom line had already appeared. I was like, yeah, I've still got COVID. How long did the test take to confirm it? 20 seconds. It's like, all right, great, yeah. Don't catch COVID. It's not good. Everyone's like, oh, it's like a cold. Oh, it's the spicy flu. Hey, for some people, I'm sure it is. But if you get it like I got it, you're going to regret everything that's ever happened in your entire life.
Yeah, I watched the episode and I was just like, well, obviously I already knew that you had COVID and everything like that because you told me. But like when I eventually watched the episode, I was like, okay. No, so I watched it and I was just like, oh, she sounds all right. That's good. Like within like an hour, I was thinking, oh, you ain't good. And then at the end, I was thinking, oh no.
Because I was. It's like it's not like I had built myself up to do the episode and then deteriorated as it went on. It was no, I felt fine. I felt all right. Like I felt decent enough to do a podcast at the start. And it was like as the podcast went on, I was getting worse. Like that's what happened. It wasn't like I'd just like done something daft and been like filled myself with like whatever ibuprofen or something to get myself through. It was like no, I genuinely felt pretty all right.
Yeah.
And then 2 hours later, I was like, I wasn't even sure I was going to make it into bed from the podcast. Like, I hit the podcast to upload, like on the Monday, and then it was like 6-7 o'clock, and I was like, I need to publish the podcast, and I had like a good 20-30 minute internal monologue of, do I put the podcast out without timestamps because I don't think I can do the timestamps.
That's fair. Yeah.
And then it took me like an hour to do what takes me like 10 minutes of like doing these timestamps. It's horrible.
Oh, bloody hell, Amy.
Like, yeah.
Don't catch COVID.
Don't
everybody.
catch COVID. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated. Like, social
Touch wood.
distance. Do the whole thing.
I have not had it yet. Like my trainer literally said, "What really?" I was thinking, yeah. Everyone else who was in the training, who trained with me on my teachers, they were just like, "Yeah, well, we've all had it." I was like, I haven't.
No, neither had I. Until that point, that was the first time I'd caught COVID. And yeah, it's like what I can say is like I'm really glad that I'd have had three shots, because if it was that bad when I had like 3 vaccinations, like imagine what it could have been like.
Yeah.
Like I had, bless him, Joseph Moran, PlayStation, the Trophy Room and PlayStation podcast, saw me tweet like that I have COVID, and he just came straight into my DMs and he was like, oh, okay, like, do you want some advice? And I was like, yeah, I'll take some advice, like definitely, because I was anxious. I had like a lot of anxiety about catching it and how bad I was feeling and like shit, like because COVID is really serious. So I was like, yeah, I'll take anything you got. And he just gave me like this huge list of like stuff that helped him when he had COVID, because he had COVID really badly last year. So like, you know, I'd like people that are reaching out and giving me like cool advice and just talking to me, stuff like that. It was really good.
Yeah.
But I want to give a special shout out to Joseph, because like the advice was good, and I don't want to like say like, oh, you know, like the advice was definitely worthwhile and like it was good to have, but like it just calmed me down like in a moment when I was like kind of panicking a bit.
Yeah.
So that was more helpful for that than the advice was helpful, but it calmed me down in a moment when I needed calming down, so that was nice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Go subscribe, Trophy Room PlayStation podcast. It's a good
They
podcast.
are pretty good. They're cool dudes.
It's a good podcast, and they're cool guys. We like them a lot around here. Shall we?
I got the PlayStation before you, Joe. Ha!
All right. Let me start the show, then we're going to do a bit. It's a bit of a slow news week, sort of. It's not a slow news week, but I think it's going to be a slow. Amy and Moody aren't going to talk too much about the news week. So let's start the show. This is the Words About Games podcast every Monday. You can get a video version of the show on youtube.com/wordsaboutgamesuk, or an audio version on a variety of platforms, including Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and more. There's timestamps in the description wherever you choose to get your podcast, so you can see what we've been chatting about, skip around, or watch the entire podcast backwards. We don't mind. We're just happy that you're here. If you'd like to support us of our content directly, you can go over to coffee.com/wordsaboutgames and buy us a coffee. And if you want to hang out with us while we play some games, head over to twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames, because I've been streaming again.
Yes, you did. You streamed Horizon.
I streamed Horizon today, and I streamed Faz last night, and I streamed Stanley Parable the night before. Like, just felt like playing some games, so I did.
You did not sound like you were enjoying Horizon.
We'll talk about it.
You weren't. I could tell you weren't. I was literally thinking, oh my God.
That's
all
not
she's doing is
true.
complaining.
It's not entirely true. I was
complaining a lot.
Was complaining a lot.
You really were.
There's a lot
Some
to
of
complain
the
about.
stuff what you were saying was completely valid. There's no doubt about it.
I mean,
I do agree with some parts what you're talking about. But yeah, I was just like, oh my god, all she's done is just complain. Oh my god. While I was just creating a new Dino deck on Yu-Gi-Oh, I was just thinking, oh my god. I want to support her, so I won't mute her. Fine.
Fuck you too. Anyway, time step story number 1. Moody has a PlayStation 5. There we go. Now.
I do. Yes, I do. Hey, yay. I have, yes.
Woo! PlayStation buds. Hold on.
I also got a Charizard.
Okay. Are we doing this? It's been 3 weeks. How many toys have you bought?
I also got
PlayStation
Goku.
buds.
Yeah. And I got a Vegeta.
You must have bought so many toys.
And I've got a Lucario on the way as well.
Sure.
That was it should have been here yesterday, but apparently it's not. So it's annoying me. And I also started because of a workmate. I created a Yu-Gi-Oh deck to play with them.
Oh god, it's transitioned into real life. This is not good. Now I know where all that PlayStation money's gonna go. Blue eyes, green dragon, or whatever the hell it is.
No. I'm creating a Dino deck.
Oh, okay. Like, I know you really want Dino Crisis to be a thing, but
No, but yeah, I'm creating a Dino deck.
welcome to the current generation.
I know. Well, I've already kind of been there.
Yeah.
I've had a Series X for a while now.
I mean, I've had an Xbox Series X.
You're not a full generation until you get a PlayStation 5. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. Like, I can play. You can play all those Xbox games on an Xbox One, right? But you can't play Returnal on a PS4
and a PC as well. But yeah. I finally got one. I literally got one. I bought one while I was there training, which was funny. Like a friend, one of the trainees, who sadly is on blue shift because I got on very well with them. They said how they got it. How they got theirs and everything like that. So they gave me the Twitter handle they found it on, and I literally just followed the I think it's PlayStation Store stock something UK on Twitter.
Sure.
And I had that follower and like I had notifications like when they tweet. So I literally got the notification and I'm literally just on my break and I'm like pressing and I just go wallet. Oh yeah, and I was like, yeah, I got one.
The amount of times I've done that service for you in the past year and a half, I've been like, Moody, PlayStations, and you've gone, no, I don't want a PlayStation right now. 10 minutes of working at PlayStation. And Moody owns a PlayStation
amazing.
5.
The building's absolutely amazing.
We'll have to put a thing on about PlayStation, I suppose, for this episode. But yeah, no, what you do, like you playing Horizon Ups.
Playing Horizon. No, just Horizon Forbidden West right now. That's all I have right now.
Okay.
I haven't touched anything else. I haven't rented anything else from Boomerang.
Sure. Shame you couldn't library check, because I got a lot of PlayStation games. How cool is this controller?
It's really, funny thing is, I never actually touched the PlayStation 5 controller until I worked at PlayStation. Like literally when I was testing, I literally went, "This is the first time I've ever held a PlayStation 5 controller." And I was just like, it was like really because so obviously I've heard it from you, I've heard it from like Joseph and Kyle from the PlayStation trophy room and everything. But damn, like until you actually realize it, it really is a stark difference. Like there was a big leap between the PS3 controller to the PS4 controller.
Like, ergonomically, definitely. Like I remember I went to EGX. I've actually got a thing. Hold on. When I went to EGX, the first year I went to EGX, it was 2013, and I got a cool thing.
I played a PlayStation first.
Yeah. I played PS4 first at Eurogamer Expo 2013. We'll put that there. I'd never obviously I held the PS4 controller, and I didn't have a PS3, ever, not at all.
The controller did suck.
The controller was terrible. Yeah, I'd used the controller before, like friends and stuff. But like I played Warframe on PS4 because you had to go into the special PS4 section, and I like held the DualShock 4 and I was like, oh my god, like I played an Xbox One already that weekend. Played Rise, that Rome game that came out with it. Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was really
we all got kicked out. We all got kicked out of that demo because you had to go into a special room, and they were very adamant that you couldn't hit the button to go to the dashboard, and someone hit the button to go to the dashboard, and we all got kicked out and then brought back in.
You got one thing to do, people. Just play the game. You don't need to press the dashboard.
Yeah. But yeah, like I held the PS4 controller, the DualShock 4, and I was like, this is the best controller I've ever held in my entire life.
It was a pretty darn good controller, and yeah, this is a step up by a mile. Like the adaptive triggers, like I obviously never felt them until I've tried it, and I was just like, holy crap, this feels right for some weird reason. I don't know what. I can't put it in the words or even say it properly or anything, but it's like it just feels right that you have to put pressure on to help feel it. It immerses you into the game. Like parts of like where you're ill or you have to use your speed to open up certain things, and you just feel like you are being that character. Yeah,
it's like really you are actually like pushing the spear into the thing, like pushing through the resistance. Like like I wasn't joking. I was joking obviously, but like kind of not when I was saying like last year. I think was it last year when I was making the jokes where I was like, so game of the year is the DualSense 5, is the DualSense controller. Like,
yeah, you did say that. Yeah. You weren't lying. Yeah,
and it's like it's hard to convey with words like how good the DualSense is as a controller. Like you have to use it. So like when you text me and you sent me the picture, like I've got a PS5, I was like, I can't wait. The number and it sounds really weird, but the number one thing I was waiting to ask you was, how good's that fucking controller?
Well, the controller's badass. I'm not gonna lie. PlayStation biased or not, whatever.
Like, hey,
I'm all like this.
I'm balanced. I'm balanced. It's the fucking shit.
So am I, like,
it's the fucking shit.
Yeah, it's I won't lie, like it's amazing that Xbox haven't done it yet. You gotta think they're doing it.
I would have thought so. Like, I don't know, it's hard to tell what Xbox are doing these days. Like, not necessarily, I'm not saying that in a bad way, like, just in general, it's hard to tell what they're actually planning.
Yeah. We'll find out shortly
we will find out shortly when we talk about some of our news, but like, I just thought I'd like give you the broom and talk about your PS5 because you have a PS5. And
like I said, I haven't played much on it right now except Horizon. I don't take it with me. I take my Xbox with me because it has all my apps on it.
I mean,
the PlayStation's fucking massive.
I watch it's big.
Yeah.
It's like peeking over. Like if I look, it's like just peeking over the monitor, just like watching me. Like I've got it standing up.
It's like, you talking about me? No, he is.
Is that an Xbox controller in your hand there? What's that doing in your hand? I use the Xbox to watch like apps and stuff as well.
Yeah.
I hadn't used the PlayStation until I played the Stanley Parable, like in 2022 though. Like I booted it up, and it does that thing where it's like, you know, it's got the apps, and it was like the last game I played was Kena Bridge of Spirits, and I was like, I played that like 2 days before we did our Game of the Year podcast. 2 days before we did our Game of the Year podcast, I was like, shit. And actually used it to play a game this year, like a new game this year. No,
I was going to say, there's not much I can say. Like I said, I've only played one game on it right now. But I'm looking forward to seeing obviously what we know, what's down the pipeline, what we know is coming and everything. So it's going to be very fascinating to see what happens.
I need to play Ratchet now.
I know. I think I'm going to hold that off because I do want to try Ratchet because, like, obviously Joe loved it when we reviewed it. Like, he gave it a really
liked it.
high praise. You really liked it as well. I really want to try what's her name? Rivet, is it? Rivet?
Rivet, yes.
Rivet, yeah.
Rivet.
I always like strong female protagonists, so I'm always into that.
Like
So,
me.
Yeah,
Grr.
yeah, hell yeah.
Grr. Grr.
Grr, indeed. You're growing at long last
Grr.
after 2 weeks of COVID.
It's a fake. It's a facade. It's
It's But yeah, like it's weird. It's like it's just weird. Like I work at PlayStation, yeah, it's weird to say that at the same time.
I'm so proud of you. So I thought for your first podcast back, what better way to start than by talking about the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase that's been announced for June.
Well, if PlayStation came out and announced something, I would not really be able to talk about it. So, just in case and everything like that. So,
just in case they announce Horizon.
Basically, yeah. Horizon 3.
Horizon 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to air on June 12th, beginning at 10 a.m. PT, noon CT, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. British summertime. And it will feature, quote, amazing titles coming from Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda, and our partners around the world, end quote.
So basically, I'll finish my first shift that day, and then I'll get back to my hotel. So basically, I will watch the highlights. I will watch it when it's probably finished, and you guys doing the podcast probably discussing it or whatever you guys are doing.
I don't know what we're doing. Like for that, it's that fucking awkward, such an awkward time. I think I'll get someone to do the podcast. We might do it live because I'll probably Twitch stream this and then roll over into doing the podcast, and I might as well just do it live.
The one time we do it live and I'm not gonna be there. That's just the son of a bitch. That
like not for the audience interactions or whatever. Just in general, just because we're already there, so it's gonna be much simpler to just do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's exciting. Like I'm excited. Like we've talked about Xbox, like the future of Xbox in terms of like the games that they're making. Like for like a while now, and I've said like I'm excited. Like they've got a lot of cool stuff in the pipeline, and you know some stuff seems to have hit snags. You know, State of Decay 3 and Perfect Dark, but like they've got a lot in the pipeline and a lot that we haven't heard about, and they keep striking up cool partnerships with cool games in Game Pass. Like that joke that I'm never gonna need to pay for a game again. I just get them all in Game Pass. I mean,
It is there. Yeah,
it's becoming more and more a reality. Like
it is, yeah.
I was looking at the games that were coming out in May and like what I would like buy or rent or whatever, and I was like, most of these games are coming out in Game Pass. That's absurd.
Yeah. It's a great deal. Like we've always said, Xbox's Game Pass is a fantastic deal. And I'm excited to see what they do and what they reveal and everything. If they do reveal anything of substance, or if they at least show off some of the things we already know about. Obviously, I think the big main thing is what they'll show is probably Starfield.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably close it. I think Starfield will probably close. I thought it'll either open it or close it.
I think they'll start with Starfield because I think they'll close with something
newish.
Either completely new or something we haven't seen, like say a Fable or Avowed or something like that, like or Fable actually. Like I don't think Avowed is a big enough title to close the show out, but like I could see them like with a Fable level reveal, like to close out the show.
But I think closing out with Avowed would be a sign to a sign that Xbox is saying to the players is that this is a game that you guys should be playing. Forget about the reputation of what the studio already has, because they have a great reputation already. We know this.
Yes.
But like this is a Avowed. Like for me, like if you want to punch hard, and Avowed is that game, do it. But I do agree with you. The one that will probably hit harder is probably Fable, but just because it has the brand and name recognition right now, and people are very interested just to see what a quote unquote fair to say a car game developer, racing developer, to create an open world, probably third person action RPG.
Yeah.
And so to see what they can do with that, which I've no doubt about it, I truly believe they will blow it out of the park. I think they'll create a great game. But at the same time, like, I am fascinated. Like Xbox, like you said, like, will we see anything of Pitch Dark? What's the
Perfect Dark?
Perfect Dark. I don't think we see anything of that. I don't think we'll see anything of the zombie game.
State of Decay 3. That was we know now that was revealed too early. Like, cast iron, it was in a story, but we kind of assumed that when they revealed it, that it was like, it's a bit early for this, isn't it? I see what you're saying about if Avowed is the game, then Avowed is the game, and I personally agree with what you're saying. Like, you know, if you've got a game that looks amazing, do it. But like, and then I put myself in the mindset of Twitter, which is a horrible experience. No one should ever have to do that. Of like, if Xbox ends with Avowed, I feel like a lot of people are going to go on Twitter and go, "That was the last game." Ooh, you know, like. Whereas, like, you get a bunch more positive reception on social media if the last game is like something well known, like Fable, or I just thought of another one. Hellblade was another one I was thinking could close out. Like, if you get a lengthy reveal, like for me, the one of the criteria for it being a game that closes the showcase is it's coming within. By the time it comes within the year,
months.
Within the year,
I think 18 months. Yeah, but if not by the end of 2023. Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Hellblade, I think yes. I think we'll see Hellblade. I think Hellblade's going to be one of their big games next year.
Sure.
I think. Fable, I think still probably 2024 at the earliest. I don't think that's next year at all. State of Decay, like say, I think that's probably even past 2024.
Miles away.
The
I don't think Gears is going to be a thing this year, like in terms of seeing it.
Well, when was the last one?
It wasn't that long ago. I don't think it was like 2020.
Check it up. Yeah.
Oh, 2019. It was the end of 2019. It's like September. Like,
so yeah, that's too early. Yeah, I would say if you're going to reveal it, you reveal it next year.
Yeah.
If the sixth one is in development, which we can all assume probably is.
Yeah, I think we'll get Starfield. Obviously, I'll be like that. I think that'll be their focus. Like, I have to keep forcing myself to remember that. No, Amy, Skyrim is incredibly beloved by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, I have to remind myself that I am not the majority opinion on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because I forget about it all the time because I'm not really that interested in Starfield, so I forget that it exists a lot. And then I'm like, no, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
But you're not much of a Bethesda person anyway.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Not Bethesda developed games.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not like that. But yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to hear this type of thing. I'll be surprised if we don't hear about Nintendo soon.
Yeah, they'll do a summer thing because they more or less said they were going to do a summer thing in the last Direct, where it was like, this is everything coming before summer.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
We'll talk about some Nintendo stuff way later in the podcast. Actually, we'll talk about some bad Nintendo stuff, and then we'll talk about some Nintendo games later. But I think you'll see, you got Starfield. I think you'll get more Redfall, which is the vampire co-op. Arcane Studios. I'm still a bit foggy from COVID, so bear with me if it takes me a second to remember stuff.
I can't remember half the developers. So.
they're only one of my favorite development studios. It's fine.
No, but for me,
yeah, they'll show more of that. You've got Redfall, you've got Starfield, and you've got Hellblade. You've probably got the next Forza. So they'll get a big expensive car up on the stage, and like they always do for fucking Forza. I'm trying to think of any like those.
Yes,
like
please.
Avowed
Forza,
and Fable.
please, and bring it out this year. I need those points.
You do need those points. Yeah, and then I think
if I don't see Forza, I'm literally deleting it from my thingy instantly.
And then after that, like obviously, I think you'll see a couple of new announcements from like Bethesda, Xbox game studios.
Yeah.
Like, I think you might even get some Overwatch. Like, it's weird to talk about it in terms of the Xbox E3 game showcase, but I do think you'll see some Blizzard stuff there. Like, I think you'll see Diablo 4. I think you will see Overwatch 2. People have been talking about Overwatch recently. I think there was a beta. I've seen some stuff on Twitter. So I was like, oh, Overwatch 2. Yeah, so I think they'll talk about some Overwatch stuff there as well. It's going to be a packed conference, like, and that's even before you think about, like, third-party stuff coming in.
Well, they do always quantity it. I can't say how the quality is of the stuff, because obviously we can't tell that yet.
Yeah.
But they I think Microsoft themselves always over quantity it. They've done it for many years now. I can understand why, because like obviously they do a giant show reel, say Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, and all like that, and then obviously show these big AAA games, their third parties that's going to be coming to it, and then obviously blasting it hard with all their first parties. Yeah, I think they just sometimes just too much is literally just too much. I will not be surprised if we hear they reveal 50 games at this stage.
Yeah, well, that's usually around about the benchmarks, like 40, 50 games. For them, they always do, yeah. Last question, and then we'll move on. Do you think it's gonna this showcase is gonna be one of those showcases that Xbox do, where it's like everything you are about to see is gonna launch day one in Game Pass?
Not everything, no. I think you'll see that. But I don't think all the AAA game stuff will.
So you think there'll be AAA games from like partners and stuff that are just games like it's not happening, but like say like if The Witcher 4 was like going to be shown, and then it would just be like it's like Xbox will show a game like that without saying it's coming to Game Pass day one.
Yeah,
that's fair. I wonder if EA is going to do anything with them now that they're not doing their own summer thing.
EA is a funny one, there's no doubt, because like I think them coming out and saying we're not doing our own show this year is brilliant. I think it's pure genius. I think it's the smartest thing ever, because they've got things coming. Go on.
How many EA players have we sat through where it's like you didn't need to be here? Like this meeting could have been an email. Like
because even though it's like it's pretty much all but confirmed, the next Star Wars game, next Jedi Fallen Order is 2023. Which is perfect. That's not a problem whatsoever. It's that's going to be revealed at Star Wars Celebration at the end of May. They don't need to do a showcase. They just let's say, where's the biggest hit we can get this? Star Wars freaking Celebration. Where else do we put this and reveal it? Okay, what? And they don't need to do a massive thing when it comes to FIFA or their Madden games or the sports games in general. They don't need to touch it really, because they know they're going to sell.
EA Sports Football, I think you'll find. Everyone's still going to call it FIFA.
Everyone's going to call it FIFA. Yeah.
It's like everyone still calls Pro Evolution Soccer, even though it's not Pro Evolution Soccer anymore.
Football, isn't it?
It's e-football. Yeah. I just I'm wondering if like there'll be like an EA game shows up, because they have a good working relationship with Xbox.
Maybe a new Need for Speed.
Maybe. I'm trying to think of anything else that could be on the horizon for them.
They always sometimes show off something. I'll say it, Dragon Age. Or do they hold that till
I don't think they're doing
Game Awards?
Yeah, I don't think they're doing anything showing. I don't think they want to remind people of Dragon Age right now. Just purely because of how long it's been since they quote unquote revealed it.
But the thing is, it's been completely forgotten about, because everyone's kind of wanting to go straight to Mass Effect.
That's what I mean. Mass Effect is the bigger game, even though
bigger franchise, no doubt about it.
But I think they want to when they bring it back, they want to bring it back and on that sort of train to release, right? Where it's like they want to start building up the hype towards release. So like when they reveal it again properly, whenever it is, whether it's this summer, whether it's at the Game Awards, whether it's at Gamescom, like, because let's not forget Jeff Keighley's going to be doing a summer of gaming thing on the 10th, I think, of June. It's like 2 days before this. I think it's something like that. But I think when they re-reveal Dragon Age, it's coming out within 12 months. Let's start getting hyped for it. And I think that's why they haven't been shown or talking about it yet, because like you get into that space where it's like if we're seeing a game pre-release for too long, you get to a point where you're just like, okay, I just want to play the game now. Like, I'm getting sick of seeing another gameplay reveal or another teaser trailer. I just want to play the game.
They are now there's no doubt about it. Yeah, they need to come out. They basically like kind of need to re-reveal this thing.
Yeah.
And go out big, basically, for it. Right now, when it comes to the showcase for Jeff Keighley, there's no date for it.
Yeah,
The two upcoming events, obviously, it's the Xbox and the Tribeca game.
Spotlight. And there's a PC gaming show as well. No, I was the Summer Game Fest thing. 10th of June was last year. I think it was the Thursday, like before the E3 weekend, last year. So I think they'll do something around about that time as well, because Jeff wants his showcase to look like it's kicking everything off. So I think it'll do something like just before that weekend again. It'll be interesting to see how that showcase goes, because I don't remember anything about last year's showcase apart from the fact that it had Elden Ring, and I feel like the only reason it was as popular as it was because everybody knew it was going to have Elden Ring.
Fair.
And obviously Elden Ring, one of the most anticipated games of the last decade, which I still don't understand how that happened. But hey ho, I mean, I'm happy about it. So you
like it so much you don't like Horizon?
Yes, that's the reason I don't like Horizon. Never even said I did like Horizon. Should we move on?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? I like the energy. I like the energy you've brought back to this podcast. Yeah, why not? Everybody else seems like eager to be here, and you're just like, yeah, whatever. Do you know how many of these I've done? I don't care. Whatever. I work for PlayStation. I don't give a shit.
You're so beneath me now.
You want me to talk about Xbox? Xbox?
The Xbox? I have this. I don't need an Xbox.
Oh dear. BioWare contractors say they are struggling to make ends meet on low wages. This is from Rhiannon Bevan, no matter what I've written in the show notes. Over at The Gamer, who writes, BioWare contractors continue to speak out after announcing earlier in the week that they are planning to unionize. The keyword devs, who work for the Irish-based Keyword Studios, say they are taking this action due to low pay and the recent news that they will have to return to the office despite high cases of COVID-19 in the area. The workers say they are being paid minimum wage for their work despite the area, Edmonton, Canada, having incredibly high rent. Without a raise from this $11 US per hour, they say they, quote, cannot continue doing this work, end quote, as most of their pay is spent on rent and rising food costs. A representative from the proposed union spoke to a game developer about the conditions at the company as they continue to work on Dragon Age 4. Speaking about the situation at the BioWare office, they say their co-workers have treated them well, but they are not included in social events. On top of this, non-contractors in the same department make, quote, double, end quote, their pay and are given days off while keyword staff are still required to work. The recent change to their COVID policy was also a major factor behind the decision. The representative said, quote, our team has been working remotely for years now, but the same affordances to studio employees on work from home or hybrid options weren't given to us, end quote. However, despite all of this, BioWare is not the focus of their efforts. Quote, our main grievances are with Keyword Studios, end quote, suggesting that it's their own employer that is responsible for much of their grievances. Of course, this is not the first time BioWare has found itself at the center of a labor dispute. Damning reports published back in 2019 detailed accounts of crunch and messy development cycles for Dragon Age Inquisition and its original sequel, which was later scrapped. It remains to be seen if these issues have improved in recent years.
I will always side with any team who wants to unionize whatsoever. Like the gaming industry needs to unionize massively. BioWare and Keyword Studios, like we've said on multiple occasions, especially towards BioWare, you need to get your shit together when it comes to looking after your staff, not just paying them properly, but also making sure that they have days off.
Days off are good, actually.
Days off are
wild
very good.
concept, right? But
it's a wild concept indeed, no doubt about it. Like I think something like, I don't know if like governments can get involved into this or something like that on the part of just like well, we were the UK government won't do now. We know this, but they're doing the opposite.
we have a government.
Well, apparently, yeah. But no, yeah. It's what I was going to say is like things need to be put into legislation that if food rises and everything like that, prices rise, and that's going to make it harder for your wage to be able to combat it. To pay it, your wage needs to go up as well. Things like you're not like say for us our national minimum wage and everything.
Sure.
Like things need to be put into legislation for this type of thing to get this sorted and whatnot. But just to help in any way, just to help staff in general, if the companies are not going to do it.
Sure.
But sadly, there's not a single. I will rephrase that. There's not many great governments in the world right now. They're all very useless. Getting caught with porn and everything and saying it was tractors and who knows. But it's an interesting site you went to if it was tractors, mate. But okay. Yeah. BioWare, get your shit together. Keyword Studios, get your shit together. Team, unionize, get together, work together. Do this. Activision's Ravens team are close to getting it all sorted. So
we've got an Activision block coming up. Don't worry about
that. I've seen. But yeah.
Thanks, Activision. Yeah, like I posted this link to this story in our secret Discord with the phrase "Let's go," because like let's fucking go. Let's do this. Let's unionize the games industry because like you know what. Companies, corporations, you had your chance to make things better. You blew it. So let's go. Like I said to you and I think Joe and probably Alfie over the past few weeks, like the stuff with Raven, and like my hope is that that's the first domino that knocks over all of the other dominoes. And now this sounds like another domino's falling over. Let's just keep it going. Like if we can get one department in one video game studio unionized, everybody who works around that department is going to realize the benefits of unionization and think, hang on, I want that for myself. Like we had a big kickoff years ago. I mean, Keith talked about this on the podcast. There was a huge kickoff about the Screen Actors Guild, the SAG-AFTRA, because they were on strike from certain companies for better conditions, and people and there was like pushback on that from people saying, well, the game developers make the games, surely they should get better. Surely they should also get like better conditions and stuff because they actually make the games. And it was like, yeah, but the Screen Actors Guild is a union, and the game developers don't have a union. And that here is the difference.
Guild.
Here is the difference. Like, it's right before your eyes. Like, the actors can do this because they have a union. The game developers can't. So the actors get the things that they want because they've got a union to negotiate for them. Game developers don't have anyone to negotiate for them. Like, they need someone to negotiate for them. So I hope this is just inevitably spreads throughout the whole industry.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think this will be nothing but good for the industry. Companies will try and stop it and try and veto it. Like Microsoft have been very quiet when it comes to giving any support whatsoever when it comes to the Raventron. I don't know if it's because they don't want to, because if that'll interfere with the buy-in of Activision. It's
because they don't want them to unionize. Like,
I know, I do agree. I think you're right. I do think you're right there, but I think it could also interfere with if they said something. I think that might count as an interference or something like that. I don't know how when it comes to buying and stuff like that. Like they're going through the whole thing, aren't they, right now? So, but
yeah. Like that could be a possibility.
They don't want them.
They don't want a union.
So. I do agree with what you're saying at the same time.
How long we've been going? 54. Moody, it's half time. I don't think we're getting through the next story in 4 minutes, so it's half time.
It's the halftime show, so that means it's indie game of the week. So that game is Chants of
Do you want me?
Sennaar.
Do you want me to just?
Yeah, you go.
Yeah,
for it, yeah.
like I've
I
been
don't
doing
wanna
it for the
say it.
last few weeks. Like,
Your voice sounds all good now, so go.
yeah, sure. Chants of Sennaar. How do I do this again? I had 1 week off and I've forgotten how to do the podcast. Yep, this is Indie Game of the Week. This is where we highlight one upcoming indie game because it looks cool. This week's Indie Game of the Week is Chants of Sennaar. Unveil mysteries behind the fragments of the past. Divided since the dawn of time, the peoples of the tower no longer speak to each other, but it is said that one day a traveller will find the wisdom to break down the walls and restore the balance. Explore and discover an enthralling world in a colourful, poetic setting inspired by the myth of Babel, where men have forgotten their past. Travel the endless steps of a prodigious labyrinth, uncover an ominous truth, and unveil the mysteries of this fascinating universe where ancient languages are both the lock and the key. Embark on a captivating journey with ancient languages to decipher. Explore a beautiful, fascinating world with a strong narrative inspired by the myth of Babel. Observe your environment and solve puzzles to unravel the mysteries around you. Use stealth and cunning to outwit the guardians and cross the forbidden zones. Decipher ancient languages to restore the connections between the peoples of the tower. This is developed by Rundisk and published by Focus Home Interactive and is coming 2023 to Switch and PC via Steam. There's a link in the description below, wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast. I guess unless you've downloaded it, and I guess there is no description. I don't know how that works. But wherever you got it from, there's a link. I'm looking this game up because this was last week's Indie Game of the Week, which obviously we didn't do. So I'm just reminding myself of what this game. Yep, and I see instantly why it ended up catching my attention. It's because of the art style. It's like, oh, it's very colourful. It's very colourful. You love to see it. Looks cool. Looking forward to following along. Which apparently there was a reveal trailer of PAX East. Also known as Ground Zero. For a COVID outbreak.
Yeah, I've heard, yeah. A couple of people like we've spoken to on know from developers and everything like who were there, they're just like, yeah, we're dying now.
Yep. That's how it works.
Bless you.
Yeah. Phil, I think, asked me, like, before I got COVID, Phil was like, oh, so you, like, are you going to go to London this year for EGX? And I was like, hell no. Because I think there'd been the GDC outbreak, and I was like, "No, I'm not going to go to London. I'll catch COVID." And then it turns out I caught COVID anyway.
I know, you just stayed in the north and caught it.
Point proven. I think you'll find I proved my own point. But yeah,
just going outside.
I just went on a bus or something. I don't know where I got it, but hey ho. Anyway, let's talk about Nintendo. We always like talking about Nintendo. It's always a fun time to talk about Nintendo.
Sarcasm,
it's sarcasm, right? Like, but nobody knows that because everyone's like, oh, they're going to talk about some cool Nintendo game. Wrong, motherfucker. Nintendo contractors report harsh working environment. This is from Jeffrey Rousseau over at gamesindustry.biz. He writes, a Nintendo of America contract employee was fired reportedly after mentioning unionization during a meeting. This incident allegedly led to a labor complaint that claims the gaming giant violated the NLRA. In an expose from Kotaku following the case filing, 10 current and former employees spoke with the outlet saying that they felt exploited at the company. Among the number of concerns the sources shared, they noted that speaking about working conditions would lead to retaliation. One current contractor said, quote, the general feeling is that you will be punished for being outspoken at every level, end quote. The report also explains a number of disparities that temporary staff regularly encounter compared to full-timers. For instance, sources told the site that part-timer pay is $16 per hour, with few receiving up to $20. Nintendo of America is headquartered in Redmond, Washington, near Seattle, which ranked 15th on Kiplinger's top 10 most expensive U.S. cities last year. Ranked 15th on a top 10 list. If I tried to pull that shit with Moody on Game of the Year, he'd log off the call. 15th on a top. Sure. Temporary staff also experience what is described as unique cycles of employment. According to sources, staff agencies would provide them 11-month-long contracts with a mandatory 2-month break between contracts. The report also added that despite these disparities, contractors would be expected to be as productive as their full-time colleagues. This would include signing up for overtime. A source explained to Kotaku that it was difficult to push back against overtime because, quote, our Japanese counterparts would do more, so we have to match what they do, end quote. Kotaku also published a companion report about contractors working for an external firm at one of Nintendo's US Joy-Con repair centers. The report detailed a demanding workplace with high repair quotas that didn't change regardless of the amount of Joy-Cons that needed repairing or the number of workers on hand to perform repairs. 15th out of 10. Okay, no. I'm focusing on the wrong thing here. 15th.
This is terrible. This is crap. Nintendo, sort your shit out. Team, unionize. Get in contact with Activision. Activision.
Don't get in contact with Activision.
The union team. What's her name? Jessica
Gonzalez. She's
Thank
an
you very
icon
much.
player.
If you get in contact with her, I'm sure she will try and help in any way she can. Because she's literally just, even if it's just to help just show you how to like maybe prepare to like get into unionization or something like that. I don't really know, but yeah, she's the one to go speak to, I would say. Nintendo, sort your shit out and pay your staff out.
Yeah, like, hey, I know. I remember two really smart people once when we were talking about one company or another, like 20 companies ago at this point, talking about how like, oh, these issues are systemic. These two smart people, they kind of look like me and you as well. Wild that. It's on something Words About Games podcast or something, I think. We talked. It's a systemic issue, and like systemic means this is happening everywhere, and like we're just drilling through the layers of all of the different companies that this is happening at. Because spoiler alert, it's all of them, probably, allegedly. There you go, Keith. But it's like to find out this is happening at Nintendo. It's not shocking. It's very disappointing. Like there's a culture that's pervasive in capitalism, but we'll focus on the games industry. That is just like you're only worth what you can like. You're only worth what you can produce, like in terms of like your productiveness towards like your job or whatever. And it sucks. But this is what drives a lot of this stuff. Like the people who do the contract work at Nintendo, like they can't, like they need a job. Like everybody needs a job, unfortunately. So people get stuck in terrible situations, and here we are. Nintendo is taking advantage of that. Like so many companies that we talked about before them, and are going to talk about after this. It sucks. Nintendo needs to do better. And I hope that we could shout loud enough for them to do better. But there's a cynical part of me that says, this is Nintendo. Is anyone really going to push Nintendo? Hey, you know what? Like, sorry, but there is just a cynical side of me at this point that goes, like, that's noticing that, like, companies that people like get a lot less pushback than Ubisoft and Activision Blizzard.
They all do. The console developers.
Yeah,
I think they're the ones. Yeah, they do get a lot of free weight. There's no doubt. I do agree with you on that and everything. So, yeah, Nintendo. Like, as much as I love you, as much as we love your games and love your console and everything like that, you do seriously need to sort your shit together and everything.
It's very warm. Sorry, I just got a hairband.
That.
It's the one I wore on the podcast with Joe. You can't actually see it, but it's got a bow on the top of it.
Very nice. Very nice.
But yeah, like we'll see what happens. We'll see what Nintendo's response is. I feel like I could write it right now, and it would probably be fairly close to being accurate. We take reports that like this very seriously, but these allegations have no merit. I imagine it'll be sound something like that. Shall we move on?
Why not?
We've got a whole block about one company, 'cause they suck so much. Activision Blizzard again accused of threatening employees for speaking out. This is from Mitchell Clark over at The Verge. He writes, Activision Blizzard is facing another complaint to the National Labour Relations Board that it's trying to keep employees from talking about their working conditions despite their legally protected rights to do so. The Communications Workers of America has filed an unfair labour charge against the company, alleging that it told workers, quote, they could not discuss issues related to the sexual harassment and discrimination lawsuit filed by the state of California against the company, end quote, according to a press release from the union. According to the complaint, an employee was threatened by a manager after posting an article about the lawsuit in Slack and discussing holding Activision Blizzard accountable with other co-workers. According to former Blizzard senior test analyst Jessica Gonzalez, who was cited in the CWA's press release, the company has, quote, a pattern of retaliation against workers who speak out, end quote, which has only gotten stronger as the company faces further legal challenges and complaints.
Well, just Activision Blizzard being Activision Blizzard.
So
me being away for 3 weeks, so was hoping they might change, but they did not.
In the 3 weeks ago. Do you know what was wild? I don't know if we actually did an Activision Blizzard story while you were gone. I don't think one came up. Like, I remember you asked last night when we were streaming, you said, so how many news stories did you hold over from last week? Because there's a lot of bad news stories. Like, one. Like, weirdly enough, all of this happened this week. Just gone.
Week.
Like, it was like they knew. It was like they knew. Moody's coming back to the podcast.
Moody's coming back, yeah.
He loves talking about this stuff. We have to do this. Like, we have to remind him why he left in the first place.
I left because I got a job. I didn't leave because I didn't like doing it.
Yeah, I believe you totally. Like, the thing about Activision Blizzard, and this is going to go to most companies, most big companies in the world, whether it's a video game company or not, is like, one of the things that they count on is, and this is my opinion, I'm just gonna make this all legally compliant, is that what they try to do is they like to exploit people not knowing what their rights are in terms of like their workers' rights, like the things that they are entitled to do. Like,
why we unionize?
This is why we unionize. Like, if you try to like, because like they don't want, like the company doesn't want people sharing details of a lawsuit against the company and saying we should hold our company accountable. The company doesn't want that. But the company can use intimidation. Like, it's like that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia bit. It's all about the implication. It's like they can't legally stop you from talking about this stuff, about working conditions, like poor working conditions, but they can give you the implication that they can stop you. They can stop you because they can just find a performance related reason to sack you. Like, if you're becoming a problem, a company can find a reason to sack you, unless you're in a union. Just saying. And like that's what companies do. So when they're saying like this is against the law in California, it is against the law. But how many people who work at Activision Blizzard, before all of this happened anyway, do you think actually knew that this was against the law? Like,
none of them.
Yeah, because
Probably
like
none of them.
you'd be scared of this huge company that you work for getting rid of you, and there's a lot of competition for your job, right? Like, there's a lot of people who want your job out there. And that's what companies like Activision Blizzard are banking on. Being able to say, you're not allowed to talk about this, and have people go, shit, I guess I'm not allowed to talk about this.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like, it's like where, like, when you hear, like, from statements, like, from big articles, like, from Jason Snyder, where he says people want it to be kept anonymous, It's because they know what the industry's like. And it's a shame that the industry's like this, that they could get blacklisted. They're afraid to get blacklisted because they want to work in the industry that they've obviously worked hard to get into and everything. But the potential of getting blacklisted is sadly very high from at least the big AAA companies.
Like the issue isn't necessarily just losing your job at Activision Blizzard, one company, in this case Activision Blizzard, and like being blacklisted from ever working at Activision Blizzard again. The issue is it spreads across the industry. That blacklist spreads across the industry because you're labeled by that company as a troublemaker. Other companies don't want to hire you because you've been labeled a troublemaker.
Yeah. We'll get to it shortly, but I'm very interested to see in the future of Activision Blizzard and a certain other company, but we'll get to that one later.
We'll get in there.
Yeah, just like find out what your rights are, and at the end of the day, even though the company may think you don't have rights, you do have rights. Learn this, find out what your rights are, and just be careful at the same time.
Yeah. Like I always said, into people, it's always like just do your job properly. Make sure you're not doing anything that's against the company rules, should I say. But also not doing anything against your rights. Like when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about like don't break any health and safety rules or anything that makes it easy for a company to get rid of you if they so decide to.
Yeah, it's like oh, my brain.
Like if you're supposed to wear a hard hat and you don't wear a hard hat, but it's fine because nobody wears a hard hat. It's cool until the moment where the company decides they want to get rid of you and they can go, well, you're not wearing a hard hat, so you're breaking our health and safety rules, so we're going to write you up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Other thing I was going to say is that sadly there's too much power in with the company, sadly, at the same time. There's not enough, it's not a 50-50 split where you have enough power where you can defend yourself properly. Like I say, well, you have to unionize to do that. You shouldn't have to unionize. There's no doubt. I think unionization is a good thing. There's no doubt, but you shouldn't have to do this to protect yourself. The governments around the world will give companies too much power and too much leeway just because they get money from these companies, just so they can keep in power and everything. And that's why we get crappy governments,
crappy companies.
And everything. So it's not a. It's a whole systemic thing of the system in general, sadly, of when it comes to workers' rights. And yeah, workers' rights seriously needs to get sorted in not just in the UK, but in like all places.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
let's live we can make a better world. We just need to bust out the guillotines.
For me, I think governments and freaking companies all think like, oh, if we give them leeway, they might not want to work. No, we want to work. That's the thing about it. We want to work. We want to do this stuff. I worked my ass off to become a QA tester for a freaking reason. I want to test and break the shit out of stuff.
Yeah, sure. Moody, if I offered you I don't know how much you're getting paid, but let's assume for the sake of argument you're getting paid $15,000 a year. If I offered you $15,000 a year to quit your job at PlayStation and come do this full time, you'd be like, no, like you've worked so hard to do the job that you want to do. You're doing. Maybe it's not necessarily your ultimate dream job, but you're doing a part of your dream right now. Like, people would still do things like, like we're getting into like systemic criticisms of capitalism and capitalist tendencies, and I could go on.
You could. If that episode, when that episode happens, we need Stephanie Sterling on for that.
Oh God! Everyone keeps saying this on the podcast, and I keep saying like we can't have Steph Sterling on the podcast because I'll die. Like
that's true.
It'll be too much.
Then she'll have to take over because I won't.
And then Steph Sterling will run the podcast, and I don't think they want to do that.
Be the most viewed episode.
Only because somebody died on the air, and it still got published somehow.
I know where you live.
Right. Just roll the body off the chair, and then look at the webcam and go. And then that's the end of the episode. I've noticed that my eyeliner is smudged on one eye and not the other one, and it's really
annoying
the shit out of me. But we're gonna get through this together. Thanks, warm weather. Former. Sorry, go on.
I'm pretty cool over here.
I'm pretty cool over here. You are pretty cool, in fairness. I
You're
could
wearing
fix
like
it.
You're wearing like a jumper.
It's a thin jumper. Like it's a show jumper. It's not actually like a jumper that's meant to keep you warm. It's for show. Like a lot of women's clothes, like pockets on pants. They're for show. They're not for putting things in. It's a jumper only because only to hide
I put
your
stuff
arms.
in mine for no reason.
You've actually got pockets. Show you the fucking. I wish I had my jacket right now because like I'd show you the size of the pockets like this. Dude.
Oh, women's pockets are like they're nothing. Yes, I know myself. Yeah.
I don't even like the pants I'm wearing. Don't even have pockets. Like right now, like I have no pockets at all on me.
You want to talk about a legal battle instead?
Sure, I love talking about legal battles. It's great. It's going to distract me from my smudged eyeliner. And lack of pockets. Former Blizzard Versailles staff have won their legal battle against the company. This is from Natalie Clayton over at PC Gamer. He writes, back in 2020, Blizzard closed the doors on its French studio in Versailles, putting around 285 people out of work in the middle of a pandemic. Now those former employees have won their appeal with French courts against Blizzard. Reported by French outlet Game Cult, the successful appeal means that employees may be entitled to compensations worth up to 6 months' salary, as the court found Blizzard's reasoning for the redundancies wasn't legally justified. It's a hollow victory, mind. Blizzard Versailles is still shut, closed over the course of the legal battle, and redundant staff won't be getting jobs back with the company. Mehdi Bouzaida, the lawyer representing the employees, told GameCult, quote, what this means in concrete terms is that as soon as the administration validated the redundancy plan, the company sent the dismissal letters in the following days. In other words, people get dismissed, and a few months later a decision like the one we have today is reached, but the law at the moment won't force the company to reintegrate the former employees, so only compensations are planned. A similar appeal was made against a previous round of layoffs in 2019, a year that saw Blizzard make absurd redundancies and a year it posted record profits. The 2020 redundancies saw unions representing the Versailles workers call for a strike, describing Blizzard's reasoning as, quote, absurd, end quote.
A hollow victory indeed it may be, but it's a victory nonetheless. These people did not deserve to lose their jobs and get redundancies at the probably at a terrible level of pay what they would have got. So it's, I hate saying this word either way. I hate to say it in general, but it is truly is better than nothing. Like it's a loss on them. It is a loss on. It's a loss. It's not. Let me rephrase this. It's a hope. It's a little bit of hope that Activision Blizzard will lose more in their legal battles. Hopefully. That they've lost this small quote unquote small one compared to the rest, what are happening in California and everything, and hopefully this is something as signs of things that are going to happen in the future and everything. But I hope everybody who sadly lost their jobs because of this closure lands on their feet. This extra pay helps them in some sort of way. And hopefully they all land on their feet as soon as possible and everything. But yeah. It may be a hollow victory, but it's still a victory against a company which is disgusting right now.
It has been for a while. I remember this story. Yeah. Fuck them. Activision Blizzard. Just fuck them. I'm running out of ways to
Welcome to her TED Talk.
Welcome to my TED Talk. And it's just to click the slide and it's just fuck you, Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
And then click the slide. XXX. Amy K. Alexander. And then like a heart. And then I click the slide and it just says Finn. You know, like those old films where it just says Finn.
Finn.
And then I bow.
And walk off.
Drop the mic. No, not drop the clicker because I don't have a mic because I haven't said anything. Drop the clicker and just strut off the stage.
Winking at the sexy ladies looking at you.
Yeah.
You doing the Toby Wire. Dang, dang, dang. Doing your dancing. Da, 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 da.
And then boom, fireworks.
Spray fireworks in the background.
And I just rip my jumper off, and it just says "fuck Activision Blizzard" on a t-shirt, and I'm just like,
and it's just like, just collapse, applause, standing ovation.
yeah, basically that's how I feel. Like, you know, very subtle about it these days. Like I hope everybody who lost their jobs from Blizzard Versailles is thriving far away from Activision Blizzard right now.
Well, they are pretty far away. They don't have a company in France, so they are pretty far away.
Yeah. Good point, Mooney. Thank you for pointing that out. Meanwhile, back in America... Activision Blizzard stockholders vote in favour of Microsoft acquisition. This is from Matt Wales over at Eurogamer. He writes, Activision Blizzard stockholders have overwhelmingly voted in favour of Microsoft's proposed $69 billion acquisition of the publisher, with 98% of shares approving the transaction. There's still some way to go until the deal is finalised, however, while Activision Blizzard stockholders and earlier in the week board members have now given the deal the go-ahead. It's still subject to regulatory review around the world by the likes of the Federal Trade Commission in the US to determine if the deal constitutes unfair competition. Should the deal make it through regulatory review, the acquisition has until June 2023 to close, whereupon Microsoft will welcome some of the industry's most recognizable franchises into its fold. I'm not going to read the names. However, as reported by Bloomberg, uncertainty still remains over whether the deal will be allowed to go through, with some Wall Street investors believing the Biden administration's antitrust investigators will block or delay the acquisition, a belief that's reflected in Activision Blizzard's current share price trading at 23% below Microsoft's offer of $95. You know what? I'm going to jump right in here and I'm just going to say, look, right, Biden's going to say a bunch of stuff and he's going to be like, oh, I think we should look at this because it might be a monopoly, and then he's going to do nothing. That's the Biden move. That's what he does. We call that the Biden. He's fucking useless.
All we were was happy that he got in and got rid of the other twat.
Sure, but his absolute uselessness might mean that the other twat might come back.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
Had to get that off my chest. I'm sorry.
That's fine. The stockholders were always going to pass this.
Yeah.
And everything. Like,
yeah, they want money.
They were always going to. They want money, or they want to turn their potential stock money into Microsoft stock, which is going to be incredibly valuable to be in.
Yeah.
I do not like what you just said. Biden might say something. It's going to go through. Even if it gets delayed, it's still going to go. It's going to go through. To the thing I waited for this one. Like we've already mentioned already, like Microsoft have already distanced themselves from the unionization thing from Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
Is it Ravenclaw?
How dare you bring that here? No, it's Raven Software. Ravenclaw's a house
Raven
in Harry
Software.
Potter.
I apologize to Raven Software and to you. My apologies.
That's fine. Don't worry about
it. Sorry.
It's fine.
I've lost my
You've lost your train of thought. That's what happens. That's what happens when you bring that cursed material into this podcast.
That's true. The more this goes on, the more this deal goes through, I think it's going to hurt Microsoft more and more and more. They're obviously when it was announced that they've agreed to purchase and go through all this regular, we were all questioning and thinking, oh, okay, it was a big move. There's no doubt about that. But we were all like thinking, cross fingers if it goes through, Microsoft will sort all the shit out and do all the things that needs to be to make the studio's staff better, happier, and all like that.
Sure.
With me seeing that they've distanced themselves from the unionization thing, yes, I think there's also potential. It's because they don't want to say anything because it might damage the chances of this going through. But I also agree it's probably more likely what you said, Amy. Microsoft have always been third, pretty much between the top three. I think this will hurt them more. Yes, they may bring in more revenue because the franchises they're going to acquire are the biggest in revenue around the world. But their reputation, I think, is going to get massively damaged because of this, especially if they don't fix anything at Microsoft. Yes, they may get rid of Bobby Kotick. Big freaking deal. Congratulations. Yay. Big whoop. Doesn't help if you don't fix the rot that is in Activision Blizzard. And if that rot seeps into Microsoft or into the Xbox ecosystem, it's going to hurt Microsoft even more. And it's going to make Phil Spencer look. It's going to be the biggest L for Phil Spencer ever.
Well,
and he may not recover from it.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, there's a few things we've talked about in bits and pieces on the podcast about Xbox in general over the last sort of couple of months. That just like are red flags for me personally. It might not be red flags for everybody. The first one was that the discussions for this deal began right after the stories broke about Bobby Kotick last year, which is what tanked Activision's market price. So, like, they say, hey, you know what? They did the capitalistic thing of seeing an opportunity and going for it. Fine, whatever. But they went for Activision Blizzard, knowing all of this stuff is happening at Activision Blizzard. Now, what they can and can't talk about as far as Activision Blizzard and like what they're gonna do and what they can do, like, I don't know what they can and can't talk about. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna beat Microsoft with a stick over that because I don't have the league. If someone comes on here who knows is a legal expert on this stuff and says, no, Microsoft can talk about all this stuff, then I'll be like, okay, then we've got a problem.
I agree.
Until then, I just kind of set that aside. But the other red flags are the stories that we've been seeing cropping up about development studios at Microsoft that have been mismanaged, like The Initiative or Undead Labs, which has had a culture problem for a few years and still has. The people who are running the studio during those culture problems and causing those culture problems are still there. You know what I mean? And like, you're about to buy this huge company full of problems, like full of these exact type of problems. And like my sort of like, I think I vaguely recall going on a COVID-induced rant about this 2 weeks ago. I'm just saying, like, look, man, like, everybody's pinning their hopes on and dreams on like Microsoft being the good guys and stepping in and fixing the stuff. And I don't have 100% faith that they're not just going to get rid of a couple of high-profile people at Activision Blizzard, wipe their hands and go, we did it, we fixed Activision Blizzard, and then like 6 to 12 months later we're going to have the exposés going, they fixed nothing and this is still a problem.
Yeah, I agree. I really do agree. Like, by 2024, 2025, I think we're still going to be talking about this and talking about the rot that is still part of Activision Blizzard because Microsoft haven't done anything. Or they think they've done something, but they still haven't really done anything.
They've done just enough for public perception.
Yeah.
Because that was one of before the Microsoft deal was announced, like at Activision Blizzard, a lot of people, including us, were worried that what would happen is Bobby Kotick would be fired, and then everybody would go, hey, they fired Bobby Kotick. That's good enough. Now we can continue, which isn't good enough. Like, and I feel like that's life. Yeah, it's like, well, now you can Activision Blizzard's a good company again. And I feel like that's what might happen. Like, maybe Xbox will surprise me.
Like, go right now, goes like on the last paragraph and everything like that. They're buying it overpriced.
Well, they have to.
The stock's going down. No, but their stock's going down even more because of the Microsoft Activision Blizzard stock's going further down. So that means Microsoft are buying overpriced right now. They probably thought when they got put the fall through, they were thinking, we're getting this for a steal. $69 billion, quote unquote, steal. But yeah.
Well,
and now the price is going further down, which is just like, they're like, motherfucker.
Well, yeah,
we
like,
could have got cheaper.
So everything that was true about this deal when they started making it last year it's starting to become untrue, and the stock price is whatever. Like the stocks are made up, right? Like the whole like Wall Street economy is basically fantasy. It's like rich people's fan fiction.
They commit more crimes there than anyone does in one day.
But like when you talk about it in terms of like Microsoft was buying it, and yeah, sure, they might have paid more than they necessarily would by June 2023. I'm sure they were buying it going, yeah, but look at all this money. Look at all this money that Activision Blizzard brings in. And that is the perfect segue into the next part of the block, which is also the final part of the block, which is Activision lost a third of its active players in the past year. This is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer. He writes, monthly active users of Activision games fell by a third over the past 12 months, the company has confirmed. In March 2021, Activision had 150 million active players across its games at this point, a figure likely dominated by those playing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and Call of Duty Warzone. And Candy Crush, Eurogamer. Just saying. In March 2022, Activision had 100 million monthly active players, a third less than a year ago. Activision has acknowledged the fact that Call of Duty revenues were down year on year, something it's blamed on the poorer sales of 2021's flagship launch Vanguard versus 2020's Black Ops Cold War, but also on lower engagement in the free-to-play Warzone. But it's unclear where the missing 50 million players have departed from, whether they have given up on Warzone or skipped the annual Call of Duty release, or a bit of both. Is it a bit of both? I don't see a lot of people talking about Call of Duty anymore. Like, or playing it. Like, people I know who would play it, who played it, don't seem to be talking about it recently.
The thing is...
You talk, I just need to do something real quick.
Yeah, that's fine. The thing is, when it comes to this is like, we're in our own small little bubble where it's like, the five, like our little bubble is literally the 1%. So, yes, there's no doubt about they've lost 50 million users. They're still the most profitable games out there, and I understand where you come. Just because streamers and podcasters and gamers who work in the industry, quote unquote, content creator industry, may not be playing it as much, doesn't mean it's still not still not talked about or anything like that. So. For me, like, it's just because we're not hearing about it doesn't mean it's still not getting talked about. So for me, I think it's a bit of a mixture of a lot of things. Like, I think it's a mixture of like Vanguard. I think people, I think people kind of getting sick of going back to World War II. They want to. They want to be fired. Yes, you no doubt about it. But I think people are kind of thinking, wait, we just went to World War II. What was it, 3-4 years ago, and now you're giving us Vanguard, which is World War II again. Like, why are we doing the same thing over and over again? Why, come on, change it up a little bit.
So close to self-awareness from a Call of Duty fan. So close, like, oh, why are we doing the same thing over and over again? Yes, good question. I asked that question in 2000. No, I'm saying, like, for a Call of Duty fan to ask that question about World War II, it's like, you're so close to getting the point. You're so close to the point.
No, but yeah, it's like... Warzone, I think, is very slow when it comes to releasing content in general. We also got to take into consideration that they got smashed like crazy because of the Raven software team.
I remember that.
Not testing it, and obviously they striked for a while. So the game was Vanguard and Warzone were not getting tested, and the bugs and everything were just never getting fixed. So I think there's a lot of things of like the bugs were never getting fixed. People are now just getting sick of it and they've left. I think it's also maybe a little bit of a knock-on effect of like people like you and me, a small percentage of just like, yeah, we're not touching Activision Blizzard games anymore. We're not playing Call of Duty. We don't want to touch it whatsoever. So I think it's a mixture of a lot of things, but like the thing is, we'll see what happens. Like, are they skipping this year or is it next year?
No, Modern Warfare 2 just got announced.
Well, I guarantee you that the numbers will be back up next time because it's Modern Warfare. the name itself, like what was it, Black Ops 3 or 4, whatever? Even though that didn't have a story mode, it was just basically multiplayer.
4.
It was one of the.
It was a battle royale game and a multiplayer game.
It was one of the best-selling Call of Duties.
So, yeah, well, couldn't speak to that. I bought it, to be fair. I bought that game.
Yeah, but no, yeah, it's like...
That says a lot.
I think people are just more often these days just want to play it in the modern world, quote-unquote modern world, compared to going back to World War II.
I don't know, like, I mean, I can't speak to the discourse around Call of Duty because I've never really been a part of it for a long time. Like, even when I was reviewing the games, I was just playing the single players and then a bit of the multiplayer and being like, "Yep, it's Call of Duty." I think when we did Black Ops Cold War review, and it was like, I remember saying like, there are ways this game you can see in that game, like, ways in which the series could move itself forward, but then chooses not to do it in favor of just being another Call of Duty game, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And then I didn't play the next one because all this stuff happened. But I don't know. I don't know what's driving it. I don't even know. There's a lot of assumptions being made that it's Call of Duty specifically that's driving this massive slump in players, and it might not necessarily be. Like, Warcraft could. I feel like Overwatch is probably going to be down on players because there's a sequel coming out. I feel like, well, I haven't seen a World of Warcraft expansion release recently, so I feel like they're going to be down on players. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's like. I don't even know if it's majority driven by Call of Duty, like, in terms of like the dip in players.
Yeah, like that. There's multiple scenarios of why this has happened.
Mm-hmm. It'd be nice to be able to just go, "Ha, we did it," and move on with our lives, but we didn't.
Yeah,
like, "Hey, fuck you, Activision Blizzard. This is what you get." But probably not.
Now we're gonna get the casuals off your back, and you're gonna lose. Yeah. Because 100 million is still the casuals, basically.
100 million's a lot of fucking players. Like,
yeah.
I would be interested to see what the numbers on Candy Crush are and see like what percentage of those people are people who play King games, like specifically Candy Crush. That's got to be a big chunk.
I agree.
All right, we've got a lot of tidbits, a lot of games to talk about. Let's do it. Number one, this is one of the few things I held over from last time. Amy Hennig is making a new narrative-driven action-adventure game set in the Star Wars universe.
They basically asked her, "What were you doing at Visceral?" This is what I was doing. Do that!
Do that again. Continue
that. Basically. This is fantastic. We were all curious what the hell. We were all like, that just one little tidbit we saw from Amy Henrig's game. We were just like, what we want. That's what we want. EA, that's what we want. We don't want Battlefront all the time. We want that. Give us that type of thing. And then they pissed us off.
And then they fucked it over. Yeah. They did do Jedi, though, like Fallen Order. So they got there in the end.
I give Respawn more credit to the EA for that.
Oh yeah,
but EA would have had to confirm it, so
I give up most of the credit to Respawn.
The green light. Yeah, still no Titanfall 3 though. Oh, bless you. Maybe you guys should have bought that game and supported it properly. But yeah,
you're trying to start a fight anyway, like, because if you think I'm just gonna let you move on from that. Like,
I saw something on Twitter this morning. I wanted to tweet something. Titanfall was trending on my end, and I was just like, "Why are you trending?" And then I saw the thing, saying, "Oh God, seriously, guys, maybe you should support it. Not you, Amy. I mean, just the people in general." But no, yeah, Amy Hennig's game, Star Wars, bring it on, fantastic, awesome. I'll take that finger.
Yeah, it's for you specifically. It's not for Amy Hennig's Star Wars game. We're getting a lot of Star Wars games. And you know what I was thinking? I put a tweet out when I saw this stuff. And I said, now can we have the same for Star Trek? And then, Moody, I watched 3 episodes of Star Trek Picard back to back. And then I thought about...
No, I don't want this anymore.
And then I thought about Star Trek Discovery. Like, I remember watching season 3 last year. And like, I'll give Lower Decks its props. Lower Decks is a really, really good Star Trek. But then I was like thinking about the general like quality of like Star Trek at the moment, and I was like, maybe I don't actually want this. It's like the whole thing of like, I did a podcast years and years ago, and it was one of the ones I missed, and the main topic that they brought up was like, oh, game revivals you'd want to see. And Keith said, well, Amy's going to say Silent Hill. And I came back on the next podcast and I went, in response to that Konami would have to make that. So no, I don't want to see Silent Hill revived because that game would suck.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, do I actually want this for Star Trek? Because like Star Trek's not in a great place right now.
Depends really.
It's in a healthy place where like lots of like content is coming out, but it's like I don't like it's not. Strange New Worlds.
When it comes to the stories and everything, that's subjective. You can't do anything about that. If it's healthy enough when it comes to just viewership and everything for them, that they'll stay happy about it. That's fine.
We're in this weird streaming war bubble where it's like all the Star Trek that's coming out could be bad, but it doesn't matter. They're still going to keep making it because they've got to have something to put on their on their streaming platform. Like it's like the Netflix strategy where it's just like they just have to make things like to actually have new content coming on their streaming platform. But we're talking about TV shows now, so Amy Hennig's Star Wars game, I'm in. Let's go. I can't wait to play that. Hopefully history doesn't repeat itself again. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 release date was moved from September to July, and Splatoon 3's release date was confirmed for September. They just went, whoop, and switched those, right? I feel like that's what happened.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is obviously further along for them to say, yes, can you get out by July? Hell yeah.
Nintendo is one of the only companies I feel like they set release dates based on like when they want to drop. Like they want to have like a good spacing between their big tentpole releases.
Yes.
Like as opposed to like what we got with Microsoft last year where we got like Forza and Halo like right next to each other because that was when the games were ready. It's like with Nintendo I feel like they go, okay, so we'll do Splatoon 3 in the summer, like say July, and then like okay, a few months later we like once that's done had its course and run its course, we'll do Xenoblade. So like I think Xenoblade was ready for July one way or the other, but they were just going to release it in September, and then it was like, we need some extra time on Splatoon. It's fine, we'll just bring Xenoblade forward.
Pretty much, yeah.
The one thing you can generally say about Nintendo games is they are generally ready for release when they come out. Like you don't hear a lot about like Nintendo games coming out being like busted up, like beyond all repair, like like bugged to shit, like a lot of other games that come out.
So basically, the fall games for Nintendo off the top of my head right now are Splatoon 3 and Pokemon.
Splatoon 3, Pokemon.
I'm pretty sure there's something else. But
there will be something else. Like,
yeah.
We'll
I know
find
everyone
out
was hoping it was going to be Zelda and everything. But
yeah, it's not going to be Zelda. It might be.
I don't think Nintendo would have wanted Zelda. I know people may think, yeah, I'm crazy here, but I don't think they would have wanted that anywhere near Pokemon. No. They would have crunched each other. They would have.
Nintendo wants to be the topic of conversation all the time.
Yeah.
And like they would be a big topic of conversation if they brought out Pokemon in December and Zelda in October, November time. They would be a big part of the conversation for the rest of the year. But then what do we talk about in March?
Fall.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, well, fuck, we're going to talk about Mario Kart DLC? Like, Nintendo's been through this during the pandemic where it was Animal Crossing and then nothing, like, for so long.
It was like...
that people I think a lot of people forgot that they had a Switch. Like, I only turned my Switch on like 4 times in 2021 for like 4 games. So, like... Yeah, like that's what Nintendo want to do, right? They want to be they want to be the conversation all year round, and that's how they do it, by spacing out their games. So I agree. I don't think you're crazy. I think you're absolutely right. I think they want to separate Pokemon and Zelda into like 2 different spaces, and I think it makes a lot of sense for them.
At the end of the day, for me, and people like me think I'm crazy, but Pokemon's the bigger franchise.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
No.
Yeah.
Zelda wasn't a big franchise. Zelda wasn't as big a franchise until Breath of the Wild came out. Like, it was a big franchise for Nintendo, and it was a very beloved franchise. But it wasn't, like, one of their like massive top tier Mario, Pokemon style like level franchises. Just realized I cast a big shadow there. But yeah, like Pokemon is one of the is a bigger franchise than Zelda. Zelda's a lot bigger now than it was before Breath of the Wild, but
Sure.
hey ho. We got some new release windows for some PlayStation indies. Stray and We Are OFK are coming this summer, and Cult of the Lamb is coming autumn.
Cool. Stray, I'm very fascinated by. I'm very fascinated by that game, so it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, like Stray and We Are OFK. I think I brought them up when we sat with Sadie and did our upcoming games podcast. I'm looking forward to both of them. Cult of the Lamb, like, we'll see. I don't know if it's really an Amy game, so happy to be proven wrong. But for people who are excited for it, cool. Thumbs up. Things that Amy's excited for, though. Glenn Schofield says, it's almost time to see more of the Callisto Protocol.
Oh, if only Microsoft weren't having a thing in June.
Do you think that game's coming out this year? They said 2022. So it's not outside the realms of possibility.
I think it's going to be early 2023.
I think they're going to say...
I think they will try for this year, but I think they will push it to 2023.
I think they're going to say fall 2022 whenever they show the game off. And then I think we'll get the tweet with the picture of the text box being like, sorry, but we need to polish the game. So we'll see you all in 2023. But yeah, it does say coming 2022 on the website. So
I think they want to all assumptions, the remake of Dead Space is not until next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they want to get out before that.
They want to definitely get out before that. Like, they want to be out of the way of that game.
Yeah. So for me, I would say it all just depends on when EA want to drop Dead Space's remake. Are they going to wait until the end of 2023 for fall, or maybe push it, or maybe see if they can get it out early?
I think
like
Dead Space
early 2023.
No, I think Dead Space is one of those games that like, for me personally, I don't see coming out this year or next year.
Fair.
Which is fine. Like, I don't mind, but
take your time. There's no doubt about it.
I don't see it coming out next year personally.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, but Glenn Schofield, for me, you need to get this game out before Dead Space remake.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like, you need to dominate the conversation as the new Dead Space before Dead Space remake comes out.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely, yeah. Go on.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 16 is, quote, in the final stages of development, end quote. The developer is hoping the game will bring back lapsed fans. Now, on the subject of the second part of that statement, that's what everybody said about, that's what they all said about Final Fantasy 15. I think that's what they say every time a Final Fantasy game comes out.
It all depends on what lapsed fan you're going for at the end of the day. Are you want to try and get back to the traditional turn-based fans? No. That means you're going to create a turn-based game then. We know that's not a turn-based game, so that's never going to happen.
Like a lot of the lapsed fans like that you would be aiming for came back for remake, like 7. Like
yeah.
So like I don't know what other lapsed fans you could possibly grab back with 16.
Final Fantasy 9?
Well, we talked about that on the Joe Merforce episode of the podcast.
I know.
Because that was part of a leak that's so far like
confirmed.
all come true.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, I mean, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
Like if that. Oh, okay.
I know. You know what? Funnily enough, I will know exactly how you feel. Like.
Oh my god, yeah. But no. Final stage of development. That means a lot. That's a very broad term. It's very broad term, but I hope it is
2023.
in serious final development, that it's coming out in 2022. I don't mind some points this year in Fantasy Critic,
Oh,
but no,
it's
it's
a
going to be
Final Fantasy
2023.
game. It's
It's
2023.
2023, yeah, no doubt. I do agree with you, probably. Maybe. I don't know.
I'd love to be playing a new Final Fantasy by the end of the year, but I'm not going to be. I don't think. Like, no shit. Again, like when I say this stuff, it's no shade on the developers or anything. I'm not talking shit about them. It's just this is a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
It's definitely not going to come out anytime soon. Final Fantasy games don't come out anytime soon. 10 years for the
Yeah.
last one.
Yeah.
It's only been 7
remember-
since
You
the
got 3 more.
previous one.
So you got 3 more years. So
So we got like 3. Yeah, we got 3 more years. So
2025
yeah,
then.
yeah.
2025 for Final Fantasy
20.
16.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 15. Or was it 2016? It might have only been 6 years. Sorry.
Oh, so 2026 then.
2026. Yeah, no, it's gonna be like next year.
Just make it worse, Amy. Just make it worse.
Well, they restarted the development of that game like many years in.
Which
I
one?
remember. 15.
Yeah.
It was
we
a
know that,
13 tactics, and then they were like, "We'll make this Final Fantasy 15." Like Japanese developers do this a lot. Like I've been doing a lot of research for a video I'm making about a series of games, and like there's multiple instances of the publisher of that series of games going, "Oh, like, well, what if we made this spin-off like the next mainline game?" It's weird. Like, they're just like, "Oh, we'll just make this the next numbered game in the series instead of a spin-off." Interesting. I don't know. It's just I find it weird, like that this seems to be a common thing in Japanese game development.
It is. It does seem like it, no doubt.
Did you like the way I talked around what I'm actually making a video of?
Yeah, I know you haven't
Very
revealed that. Yeah,
Very good. No, it's because I don't know what I'm doing yet. Like how many videos it's gonna be, how long it's gonna be. It's like it's all up in the air right now. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order sequel is reportedly coming 2023 and is skipping last gen consoles.
Good and good. Like at the end of the day, a big game was the big games were gonna start doing this. That they were gonna skip last gen's consoles, and they were gonna just concentrate on the new consoles. There are enough consoles in the wild now when it comes to the new ones, to make it a sufficient a number to make the game probably profitable for them, to make them think that and everything. So
Eventually, we
that's
have
not a
to start
surprise.
developing games specifically for these consoles.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Like
Even though Horizon Forbidden West looked really pretty on my PlayStation 4, playing it on on my PlayStation 5, I'm just like, it's fucking, and it's not even night and day.
yeah,
It really
it's
isn't.
it's not comparable in terms of just graphical fidelity, but like when you talk about like you can't develop like you're developing a PS4 game with prettier graphics, and like anything else that you can do with the new SSD or the new controller, like you can't create features for those things because it's a waste of development time because you're making a version that also needs to run on the PlayStation 4, and that's cool for a while, like especially with the console shortages and stuff that we've had, but you can't keep that up forever, and like eventually you have to start developing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, like games that stand out specifically because they take advantages of the features of the PlayStation 5.
Exactly.
Which, you know, that game wouldn't work on a PlayStation 4. And that's cool because it made a really cool game. We're going to talk about the next bullet point and then stop. Gearbox announces a new Tales from the Borderlands coming later this year. I put this in just for you because you like this.
Why do you want to skip the other two? But we'll get
time.
Time. We can quickly get through them, man. Come on.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that before.
The Tales. This was a very big surprise. Like, I love Tales from the Borderlands. Like, the first series I thought was amazing. It was so good. But it was obviously created by Telltale, not Gearbox. So I'm fascinated to see what this is going to be and what they do and everything. So interested. I am interested. I won't deny that, even though I'm very mixed on Gearbox. Well, I'm not really mixed on Gearbox. I'm mixed on bloody Randy Pitchford. Not even mixed on him. He's a twat.
I was gonna say,
frank.
mixed on him?
I am not mixed on that guy.
Really?
He is a twat. I would never want to meet that man.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you know.
So yeah. Says the comment. It sounds like they're aiming for this year. That tells me Jeff Keighley's or Microsoft's thing.
Jeff Keighley's thing, I think.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft already got like 75 to 100 games.
I mean,
to show already,
at this point, yeah, we can't just say everything is going to be at the Microsoft press conference.
I know, that's true. That's true.
There's got to be some other press conferences. I mean, it might be a PC gaming show thing. Like Tales from the Borderlands, potentially. That's a lot of games. I just scrolled down. It's time for games out next week. There's a few games coming out next week, Moody. On May 3rd, we have Loot River coming to Xbox and PC and Game Pass. Explore procedurally generated labyrinths in a dungeon-crawling action roguelike that combines tense real-time combat with spatial block shifting. Slide blocks of ancient ruins, fight bestial abominations, loot, explore, level up, strategize, cast powerful spells, die, and wake up anew. Then on May 4th, we've got Wildcat Gun Machine coming to PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. Wildcat Gun Machine is a bullet hell dungeon crawler where you take on hordes of disgusting flesh beasts with a wide variety of guns, giant mech robots, and cute kittens. Then on May 5th, we got a bunch of games coming out. Trek to Yomi comes to PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Game Pass. As a vow to his dying master, the young swordsman Hiroki has sworn to protect his town and the people he loves against all threats. Faced with tragedy and bound to duty, the lone samurai must voyage beyond life and death to confront himself and decide his path forward. Why? There's something under my foot. There's something crinkling under my foot. That's not a good sound. We've also got Citizen Sleeper coming to Xbox, Switch, PC, and Game Pass. Role-playing in the ruins of interplanetary capitalism, live the life of an escaped worker washed up on a lawless station at the edge of an interstellar society. Inspired by the flexibility and freedom of TTRPGs, explore the station, choose your friends, escape your past, and change your future. We've also got Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Demon Hunters coming to PC. Lead humanity's greatest weapon, the Grey Knights, in this fast-paced, turn-based tactical RPG. Root out and purge a galaxy-spanning plague in a cinematic, story-driven campaign using the tactics and talents of your own personalized squad of demon hunters. I've also got Line War coming to PC, a new type of multiplayer RTS-style game with elements from 4X, Wargame, Auto Battler, and real-time tactics genres. Draw commands and execute a superior strategy to win over your opponents without the need for micromanagement. Lastly, on May 6th, we've got Crowns and Pawns Kingdom of Deceit coming to PC. Legends of the past come back to life in this charming point-and-click adventure. Pack your bags and journey with Crowns and Pawns Kingdom of Deceit through modern-day Europe to discover the secrets of the king who was never crowned. Boom. Did it. Done it. Boom. Lots of cool indie games coming out. For the first time in a few years, it feels like this year feels normal, like in terms of game releases and like when games are coming out and the ebb and flow of like big games, indie games, big game, indie game. You know what I mean? Like whereas the last couple of years have felt manic, where it's just like game. Like there's a lot of games coming out, but it feels like we're getting the big games spaced out again.
Well, April seems like it's been like the quiet month for game releases
yeah.
and everything. Like February, March, or basically even January,
Yeah.
was just like boom, 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 boom. Like you had Horizon and bloody Elden Ring within 2 weeks of each other, and it's just like, what the hell?
Horizon's known for doing something like that.
That's true. Well, they couldn't drop with the Zelda. They were hoping to, but
They wanted to. Yeah, they were trying to find Zelda and be like, hey, you remember us?
But they're gonna do that for Horizon 3.
Yeah, sure.
When Zelda gets pushed to 2024, and 2025, and then 2026, just to spread it out and give Horizon time to get a third one done.
This seems like a good time to point out that his opinions do not represent me in any way. Please, Nintendo fans, do not use my Twitter handle for any tweets you may have in response to that. It's time for OpenCritic Head to Head.
They would go crazy if it gets delayed again.
Yes, they
wouldn't
would. They sure would. And they'd blame you.
I don't mind that. I'll tweet it out. It was me.
It was me. just get like a cheap like plastic master sword and just snap it over your knee. Oh, I've missed that back and forth. But it's time for OpenCritic head-to-head. This is the game myself and Moody and whoever else is around play every single week where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. It's been a bit all over the place the last couple of weeks, with cancelled podcasts and whatnot, and lacks of games releasing. But a few weeks ago, myself, Mooney, and Joe all tried to guess the OpenCritic average of a game called Crime Site, published by Konami. It was practically the only game that came out that week. It's got 2 reviews on OpenCritic. So we don't have an OpenCritic average. One's good, one's bad. One's like an 8 point something, and the other one's like a 6 point something. So me and you are guessing like 75 and 73. We're in the ballpark currently. However, it's been a few weeks. I don't know if the game's getting any more reviews. So this could get really awkward. But we'll keep it there for now, and we'll see what happens. We might have to just bin Crime Site and have another week where we've got bank runs for like double game releases.
Really? Oh. When there was already double game releases we could have done before, but you say no, I just want to do one game.
Yeah, pretty much.
But now I want to do double.
Are you done? Cool. So the current scores are still Amy 6, Moody 7, and our guests have yet to hit the board, mostly because we've barely had any guests, and when we do, no games come out. This week, we're going to try and guess the OpenCritic average of Trek to Yomi, the big black and white release from Devolver Digital coming on Game Pass. Moody, what do you think Trek to Yomi is going to get as an OpenCritic average?
88 never fails.
88 never fails. 88. I saw what you put for last week's game that we didn't end up doing, by the way. It was in the show notes because I cancelled the podcast for COVID very late, so there was show notes and everything. Moody went in, saw that we were doing Switch Sports, and guessed 69, which wasn't actually far off as it turns out.
That's it. Yeah, it's got what, 72 right now or something.
Something like that. I'm gonna guess that Trek to Yomi is gonna get a 77.
Ooh.
I don't trust. I don't. I've lost the trust in OpenCritic averages when it comes to indie games.
That's fair. I'll go 78 then.
Too late. 88 never fails.
No,
You know what annoys me though? Like, we're not doing a fantasy critic checking because barely anything's happened since the last one. But what fucking annoys me is, like, so what I talked about when Norco came out and it got like a 91 on OpenCritic, and I was like, fuck, I was thinking about getting that game because it was the Tribeca game last year, like the winner of the Tribeca Games Festival. And literally last week, the week before now, it'll be like 2 weeks ago, I had a bid for Rogue Legacy 2 put in, and then I bottled it at the last minute and cancelled it. It's got a fucking 89, and I was like, God damn it. I could be absolutely fucking storming my way like up the table if I'd like not bottled those 2 games.
You bottled it?
I bottled it. I really did. Like, so I had to put the bid in on like the Monday, and then like when bids get revealed on a Thursday night, so like Friday more or less for us, and then you're locked into those games because they all get shown. So like it would have shown that someone had bid on Rogue Legacy 2. But you can't bid on any new games after that. So it got to like Thursday night, and I logged into the thing, and I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, shit, what if it doesn't do well? And I got proper in my head, and I went, cancel bid. And then Rogue Legacy 2 reviews came out, and it was like 90, and I was just like, fuck my life. This is terrible. Because now what's going to happen is, now this happened twice, with 2 games. What's going to happen is I'm going to bid on the third game, right? Like whatever the third indie game is going to be that I look at and go, yeah, this is going to be a game that's going to do well. And then I'm going to be like, ooh, maybe I'm going to bottle it. And then I'll be like, no, I bottled it twice and I missed out on like basically 40 points. So I'll keep it and then it'll get like 60. Because that's the way my year has been going so far.
Pretty much.
Moody, it's good to have you back. I'm going to savor these next few episodes.
It's good to be back, don't won't lie. I've missed doing this. I enjoy doing this. It's like always a bundle of fun for me. And yeah, like even though I'm only going to be here for like another 2 more weeks, I will be always here in spirit.
God, I hope not. I mean, that's nice. Just don't give me COVID again.
I didn't give you COVID the first time.
I'm blaming you. It's the only thing that changed.
That's fine.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I would never blame that on you.
I'll take the blame.
Had to cancel it. We were gonna go out and everything. It was gonna be fucking. I was gonna do so much that week as well. Like that was the week I was supposed to get my nose pierced and everything. I couldn't go because I had COVID.
I know.
I already had to delay that once. Now I've had to delay it again. Getting it done, not this Thursday, but next. No, in my luck, I'll probably get hit by fucking lightning on the way. But it's summer. There wasn't even a cloud in the sky. I don't understand. How she get hit by lightning?
What is going on?
That's going to do it for episode 302 of the Words Without Games podcast. Moody, thank you very much for joining me.
It's a pleasure as always, Amy.
I'm going to go. I'm melting. I'm melting in here. It's warm. It is warm in here, and I don't know why. The window's been open this entire time. Like I said, fuck it, and open the window. It hasn't helped. But I'm out of here, so thanks. I'll see you next week. Boom.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Woo.